Let me tell you about crabs. Not to change the subject or anything. Growing up in Hawaii, one of the fun things we did as kids, we'd go crabbing. We'd get a bucket about that deep, put it in the sand, go out in the ocean, get crabs, put them in the bucket. We kept them alive in the bucket. They stayed fresher that way. Funny how that works. We had about 6 crabs in the bottom of this bucket. I was on my way back into the ocean, looked into the bucket. One of those crabs was scrambling up the side of the bucket. It was sliding back and forth, but it was making steady progress to the top. I hollered and said, "Hey, we got to put a lid on the bucket." I said, "No, you don't have to put a lid on that bucket. None of those crabs will get out." I said, "Come on, this one's almost out. What are you talking about?" And they said, "If you don't believe us, sit down and watch." So I sat next to the bucket for 40 minutes. Not one crab got out. And do you know why? The minute one of those crabs got anywhere near the top of the bucket, one of the other crabs climbed up, grabbed it, pulled it back into the bucket. It's the darndest thing I ever saw. That was the birth of Hyrum Smith's crab theory. We're the same way. We get out there and we decide we're going to do something really great. We make the mistake of announcing it out there. And, I say, "I'm going to get a 4-point average this year in all my classes." And then you announce it. And somebody else says, "You're going to what? 4-point? Come on. Stay down here with us." C's. It's a very real phenomenon. The pressure out there. I discovered as a mission president. How many of you are returned missionaries? May I see a show of hands? Whoa. I discovered as a mission president that the worst deterrent to a missionary going from mediocre to great, Parley Pratt status, the biggest deterrent was not the external pressure. It wasn't the Doberman Pinschers on Sepulveda Boulevard. It wasn't 111 degrees. It wasn't the born-agains. It was the pressure from the lesser missionaries. Do you think that's true? It was the lesser spirits out there saying, "You're going to go tracting this early? Come on, man. Stay home with us." It's the lesser crabs. It's a very real phenomenon, brothers and sisters. I'm going to ask you to consider something. Don't put each other down. For the rest of this conference, no put-downs. No put-downs. When I was in California mission president, I heard a speech by a wonderful human being, a man by the name of Lloyd Moffett, who was one of our stake presidents, is now, I think, is he still a regional rep? Lloyd Moffett? Wonderful guy. He gave a talk, and this was the theme of his talk. He said, if you'll run everything you're going to say through 3 doors, you'll be speaking in, I can't remember what he called it, but something to do with golden tongues or something like that. But he said, the 3 doors are these. He said, before you say anything, if you'll think, is it necessary, is it true, is it kind? I got all excited about that. I came home, approached my children, one of our early morning meetings, and I said, suppose we didn't say anything to each other till we ran it through 3 doors. Is it necessary, is it true, is it kind? Kids got all excited. Put plaques all over the house. Is it necessary, is it true, is it kind? Stopped conversation for 3 days. It was like a tomb. And on about the second day, my son was really, just really having a hard time, and he just wanted to blow his sister Glenna away, and he was going, and you could see he just wanted to say something, and finally he just blurted out and called her a dummy or something, some really dumb thing, and Glenna said, is that necessary? And he said, no, but it's true. Now, I'm just going to ask you, just think, the tragedy of what I'm talking about is some of these put-downs come from very close range, sometimes from each other. You know that beautiful young beehive? Remember when you were beehives, ladies? And you've just turned 12 and you're a beehive and you go to that first mutual function and you walk through the door of the chapel and there stands 4 laurels. Do you have any idea how devastating that is? What does the beehive do? Okay? What's wrong? It's a put down. Stop it. The second reason for low self-esteem is worse than the first. It's where we put ourselves down. It's where our self-talk starts to be destructive, and we start deciding that something's wrong with us. Let me tell you about fleas. You have my crab theory, here's my flea theory. They've done some interesting studies with fleas. They'll take fleas, put them in a quart jar, put a cap on the jar, put a flame underneath the jar. Pretty quick, the flea jumps away from the flame. Why? Hurts a lot. They jump so high, they hit their heads on the lid. Oh, sorry, heads they hit. Whatever they hit on the lid. Pretty soon the flea says to himself, I can reduce half my pain if I don't hit the lid anymore. Now they jump away from the flame. Miss the lid by 1/4 of an inch. No more pink, pink, pink on the lid. You know what you can do now? Take the lid off. Not one flea jumps out. Why? Hey, I've learned. Jump the experiments. Hurts a lot. Don't like that very much. And they won't jump out. They've been conditioned. Now the whole universe is available to them, and they will not jump out. And the tragedy of that, folks, we're the same way. We get out there and say, man, I'm going to do something really great. I'm going to go out for the basketball team. I'm going to make it. The fact that we're 4'11" escaped us. So we go out for the basketball team. We're looking at everybody's navels. Finally, the coach says, you know, kid, this is not your thing. There's a bowling class next door. And we get thrown off the team. Whoo, we get blown away. We come back, boy, that hurt a lot. I'll never do that again. And boy, if anybody else goes out for the basketball team, I'll tell them how stupid that is. Stay down here with me. This is a very real phenomenon. It's a tragic phenomenon. We start telling ourselves that something's wrong with us.